So in the following video I'm going to discuss error E06. Now you'll see in the video that it can be a few different things, but basically it can be something as simple as this fan assembly not turning, or it can be the motor that runs the fan that sits in there that can have a seized bearing, or as I found out, it can also be a problem in the motherboard. Least unlikely, most likely, and this occasionally. So you'll see me discuss all options in this following video, but this is how to solve error E06 and basically diagnose it. So enjoy the following video. So I had to go and tempt fate. Somebody posted a comment on one of my other videos about the Chinese diesel heater. Not sure what it had to do with my issue, but I said at the end, you know, it's been running fine with no issues since, and sod's law, I've just come up with this error now. For the last hour or so it's been making a bit of a whining noise, and I thought it's either a blockage on the fan or the motor is on the way out. So I've got a spare diesel heater, so I'm going to chuck that in for now and then take this one out and do a strip down and show everybody what the cause of the E06 error is, which I know is basically to do with the motor. So I'll touch base when I start to strip the other heater down. So I've got the motor out. It was seized this end. You can grab it from this end and still turn it as such, but basically one of the bearings is seized up in there now. As you can probably hear in the background, I've got my other Chinese diesel heater back in and working now, but I've had a few issues. I took this motor out, no problem. My other Chinese diesel heater, my spare, it has a different motherboard. So this is my original diesel heater motherboard, and it's the more desirable one because it's basically it works with the 6-blade fan controller, so it's more programmable. You can get into more parameters with it. So what I've always done, because my spare diesel heater was a later model, it came with the updated, if you like, motherboard stroke ECU, but it was basically you couldn't really do a lot with it. So what I did when I swapped the diesel heaters over the last time, I swapped the motherboard with it, and everything fired up, and I could use the controller, program the diesel heater, etc, etc. So I stuck with this motherboard each time I swapped over my diesel heaters. Now when I went to do it this time, I had a problem with one of the wires here was broken as well. I soldered that back on, and then I connected everything back up, and it was still throwing E06 errors as if the motor was seized still, but it wasn't, and I knew it wasn't. So I thought, while I'm in here, I'm going to cannibalise the wiring off my second motherboard, because what had happened with the original one, this multi-plug had welded itself to the other part, the black part that comes on the wiring loom. The positive feed, for some reason on this, the big thick red one, that basically welded itself tight to the other one, so I could never separate it. So to get the diesel heater out, I had to cut the main positive and earth leads to basically get it out, and then solder them back together. So each time I wanted to change the diesel heater over to service it or whatever, I had a bit of an issue. So I thought, while I'm in there, I'll cannibalise this. So I did, got it all back up and running, and it was still coming up with the E06 error. So I kind of deduced that there was an issue with the motherboard caused by the motor going. I'm not an electronics wizard. I'm certainly no good with circuitry on motherboards. I could probably strip it and find out where the issue is, but I thought, right, I'll search for another motherboard on eBay, and I was looking for the exact same one because, like I say, these are far more serviceable. And I found a seller, and basically got this. Let's take that. I was just trying out the wire for the temperatures, excuse me. So here's the spare motherboard. As you can see, it's basically a carbon copy of the other one. Like I say, these are more desirable, so I was adamant I wanted this particular motherboard. Found a seller on eBay, paid for express posted. Now this was on Tuesday, well, sort of just before lunchtime, and I thought I need it as quickly as possible so I'm not without any heat in the van. So I ordered it, paid for express postage to get it the following day, and then I thought actually I might as well order another one of these for my spare diesel heater. So I then went back on and ordered another one. Then unexpectedly the following morning about 3:15 I got an email from the seller saying, oh, we noticed that you've ordered a second one, is this by mistake? We'll hold fire until we get back, you get back to us. So that really annoyed me because I was expecting this one to turn up the following day, and it obviously wasn't going to if they were emailing me at 3:15 with a query. So I sent them a bit of a snotty message back saying, look, like, I ordered this yesterday morning expecting it to turn up today. You've finally emailed me sort of 16 hours later, 17 hours later, querying my second purchase. Well, yes, I want the both, but I really wanted this one to turn up today, and it's obviously not going to now. So they refunded me the postage, and rather than it turn up on a Wednesday, what they didn't even post it till both the items till late on Wednesday evening, and I didn't get them yesterday, and here we are on Friday, they've turned up this morning. And it literally took me 10 minutes to connect it to my spare diesel heater, and as you can hear in the background, that's off and running now, working perfectly. But it's just really annoying that this particular seller messed me about. I've had 3 cold nights in the van with no heating, right when there was a storm, and the temperature's dropped, and I've got a bit of a cold now, but whatever. Just really annoyed me. So that's put the motherboard issue to bed. And anyway, like I say, I've got the what would be my original diesel heater back up and running with a carbon copy of the original ECU. This one that's just packed up with the motor issue, believe it or not, was my new one. So I'd taken the other one out to service it and put a new burn chamber in it. And while I had that out, I thought I'll put my spare in, so I did. Now, each time I swap them over, I had to change the motherboard as well, but now going forward I won't have to do that. What I've actually done, because I've got experience, like I say, in remote control car racing, I know that this motor is what we call a CAN, and it's a non-serviceable motor. So I hunted around on eBay and I came across a seller that sells rebuildable motors. So the advantage of those is that you can take them apart, you can replace the brushes, replace the bearings, and also I used to have a thing called a hoodie lathe, which I used to use for basically skimming the commutator. So on the armature, which is the bit the shaft that goes through the middle, you have the wines, which determines the number, what they call the motor itself, and then you have a commutator, which is what makes contact with the brushes and causes the motor to spin around. So I can now skim that motor, skim the commutator in the motor, replace the brushes, and do all of that. So I literally can, these 2 diesel heaters now I'm expecting to well outlast me, because I can just keep rebuilding them. So didn't cost a lot, I think, for the motors, the motherboards, and I've also ordered 2 of these wheels because on the new one they glue these to the propeller shaft, which was really annoying. It wouldn't come off, like my one that's in there at the moment, which is now back to the original diesel heater, so that comes off by hand, but this one just wouldn't come off. I was very careful, it just wouldn't come. In the end I had to literally just pull it off. So I've ordered a couple of those, a couple of motors and a couple of motherboards for less than £60. So let's say £30 per diesel heater, and I've got it properly upgraded now. So I'll link to the parts down below in the description bar, so people can actually, if they want to change to the particular motherboard for the 6-blade controller, they can do so. If they want rebuildable motors, the rebuildable motors were about £17 each, I think, delivered, so not expensive. Yeah, so I'm actually quite happy. Although I've had a bit of inconvenience, I'm actually quite happy that I can now go forward. I've got the right motherboard. I know how to get all of those and put them in. I know about these motors anyway. They should be quite simple. So also this is my second heater, which has actually been in the van for quite a while. It's so clean. It's really like there really is like no sign that it's been running inefficiently, and I put that down to the tuning. Like I say, I had a comment on one of my other videos about the E06 error, where the guy was a little bit dismissive of the fact that you know, the way it was tuned. Like I said to him, I'm not telling anybody to do it that way, but for me, the proof is in the pudding, and this diesel heater's come out really clean. So it must be doing something right. But yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I'm back now. I've got some heat back in the van. But when I get the motors turn up in a week or so, I think they come over from France, which is I think why they're delayed. But when they turn up, I'll rebuild this particular heater with the new motherboard, the new motors, and then I'll put that into the van, bring the other one out, and do that, and sit it on the shelf in here, ready to just to put back in the van as and when I want to service it again in the future. So yeah, I'm building up a nice little collection of spares. They're really simple to work on. I had no experience of these whatsoever when I bought them, but just because I had to change a glow plug, I had to change the screen, I had an issue with a blocked fuel inlet pipe. There was a blockage on the original one, there was a blockage there, so I ordered a new burn chamber. I've got the old one set around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Get that. It's the original one, which I've now cleaned out, so I could potentially use that again and just keep that back as a spare. So yeah, I mean, when you think that these cost less than £100, these heaters, and over the past 2 years I've spent probably about £100 again in spare parts, but £60 this last couple of days just to get 2 motherboards, 2 motors. So I consider that to be a really good investment. So yeah, I don't think you can fault these. I certainly don't see the point in spending the money on an Eberspacher, sorry, or a Webasto, because these give you the heat. They're serviceable, easy to use. Yeah. So that's where I am. I'll touch back when I get the motors turn up, show you the difference between that and the can, put that in, and I'll swap it over, and you can hear it running. So here we are. I'm back in the van. My rebuild of my motors turned up, so I'm just going to fit that. But basically, just a quick bit. You can take these 2 screws off, take the top off, and then you're left with this shaft with some brushes that are held in with springs. Quite a simple design. Over the can, what we call a can, that's sealed. Now you could break the seals and take it apart, but it will never go back together the way this will. So for the sake of £14, I think it was on eBay, I've now got that, so I'm just quickly going to rebuild the diesel heater, which is currently in bits. I'm sat in the van at the moment. It's a bit cold outside, and as you can hear, I've caught a cold. But I'll quickly rebuild this, and get it back together and show you the completed article. That's it all together now. So just the new motherboard to go. just put that in, and then it's all ready to go back in, and I'll strip the other one down and do the same. So the new motor, it's so easy to go in those 3 screws and then the 4 Allen screws here to get it back onto the main body of the heater, put the fan bits back. Very simple to take apart. If I can do this, anybody can, trust me on that one. So yeah, just the motherboard to go back on now, and then it's all ready to go. So that's the motherboard all connected. Fan assembly is spinning lovely now, and if and when that goes, I've got spare bearings which I can now put into the rebuildable motor. I've got brushes that I can solder on if needs be, and I can skim the on the commutator. So that now, in my opinion, is as good as any of the heaters out there. It's got the better controller, which you can add the afterburner to if you want to. Personally, I don't need all the functionality of that. I may get it one day, but for now I'm more than happy with the way my diesel heaters go with the remote control. I literally just turn it on and turn it off as and when I want it. So yeah, so that's a very simple job to take that out, strip it all down, rebuild it with better parts, and put it all back together. So just now got to fit it back in to its slot, and do the same on the other heater. So get some warmth back in the van, it would be nice. So I've put the other heater in, and I've got this one out, which I'm now going to do exactly the same, so that both my heaters are all totally updated. But hope you enjoyed that video. Thanks very much for watching, and if you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. Thank you.